What's up, Billy?
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you today?
I'm not doing too bad, not doing too bad.
Good
So,
deal.
yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I appreciate you hopping on, taking some time out of your day.
Yeah, sure. No problem at all, man. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here. So, um, I don't know where you want me to start, but I just kind of dig in with it. And, you ask me any questions you want or whatever, and I can try to give my story a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's all you need to do is just kind of share your experience so far and maybe start like how you got started in the business and when you started and what's kind of happened since then. And if we'll
Okay.
just start there if that works.
Okay, sure, absolutely.
Cool.
So, I actually been last summer. I started kind of looking for opportunities um, to help me during retirement. Um, I'm going to be retiring here in a few years, and one of the things I know that I'm going to, run out of doing is being able to play golf every day. So I was looking for something that actually could, occupy my mind and give me something to, help, give me a little extra income. And I started out looking at tax liens and, and honestly, when I looked at that, I said, that's kind of like a once a year type of activity, right? You're busy at one point and then it kind of dies off, right? And I said, well, this is not going to really help me achieve what I'm wanting to do. And I started digging into it, and I came across your video, and I said, wow, that's something there. And I checked out some of the other competitors, and I said, well, the more research I did, I probably researched it for probably a good 60 days, watching your videos and watching some of the other people, watching some of the groups. And one of the things that, attracted me to your program was how down to earth you are in your videos and how much you actually trying to engage and help people. I think that was the one thing that really triggered me more towards your class was because I really felt like you had our best interests at heart. And there's a lot of information out there. There's so many different groups that are trying to provide information. And the one thing I could tell people is, that's all fine and good. But you really need to go through a class, and a class is structured like yours is. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I would tell people. If you're on the fence about taking a class, try to figure out how to make it happen. And I know that not everybody has the money to to do it right away, but you need to figure out. I know you have different programs that you can help folks, but that's what they really need to try to do, because at the end of the day, going through your steps and understanding it made all the difference in the world in my approach. I'm up to 14 deals that I've been, working on. I've done four with you, and I owe that success to your program. And anytime I get, down, I go through the program again. And that's the other thing that I really liked about your program was that you're constantly updating the content. And when I constantly go back through it, and it helps, give me more confidence. And it also helps me reassure myself, right? Because I mean, you'll call 100 people, and you may only talk to 10, and you get kind of frustrated, like, is this going to work? But then you get the opportunity to talk to somebody, and they sign with you, and there's no better feeling. And I remember when I got my first check, I guess 2 weeks ago, that it was such a great feeling that I was actually able to take something from the beginning to the end, and actually get paid on the other end of it. So I was super excited about that, and everything that's kind of come along with it. You have your ups and downs. Even sometimes when you get somebody signed up, it doesn't mean you're going to get a payday, right? Because something will happen. I had a opportunity in Ohio, and unfortunately, the guy that bought the property convinced the court to let him out of it. you know
Mm.
and because it wasn't, he said it was not up to whatever they said it was. But you run into those situations, and it's just, and you can't get frustrated by it. You just have to keep thinking. One of your videos here you posted the other day, that you've got to just get back out there and keep trying, because there are somebody that's going to want your services and willing to work with you, and you want to help them, so makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Dude, that's awesome. I didn't know you were up to 14 deals. That's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I've had a couple of them that, like I was saying, they're going to get, re-auctioned.
Yep.
But I still got them as customers, because I mean it's going to go through the process again. Just got to wait and see what kind of overage is going to be. you know um but it's such a numbers game, and you've told us that over and over in your videos, and it's hard to relate that. But when it truly is, I mean, it's a numbers game. And I think, and I found myself doing this. I get so um down into the weeds on different things, and you're not making calls. And if you're not making calls, you're not making money. And that's the one thing that I think I've had to, correct myself as well. And I see a lot of people doing is they're not making calls. They're getting all wrapped up into all the other things that, technology and, skip tracing and, all these other different things that you can kind of get it down into a rabbit hole. And at the end of the day, those things are important, but you're not helping your business unless you're calling people,
Yeah.
and trying to get people on the phone, and I just think you and the advice that you constantly give us. And I don't see any other people putting out videos like you do to help us. And I subscribe to a lot of different Facebook groups, just so that I can kind of watch what other people are doing and competition and stuff like that. And I've never seen anybody help like you do. And I know that everybody says, well, I can learn on Facebook and YouTube. Nah, you really can't. And you got to have a program, and I can't stress that enough. And I hope that everybody, when they listen to this video, they understand the importance of signing up with you, and really benefiting from your expertise and your program. I can't tell you how many times I go back and reference the 50 state guide, for instance, and watch videos of the different states that you've posted
Yeah.
for us. And I mean, it's just so important to be able to have those resources right there for you. And I don't think I've ever had you not answer a question for me when I've sent it either through the Facebook group or a direct text. And 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 I know the other ones don't do that. Some of the other main programs that are out there, they don't get the support you give us. I'm so thankful for you.
Well, I'm grateful for you. You've done the work, man. I mean, that is I play a very small role. I mean, I put the information out there, I put the steps, but it's not enough to know the steps, right? It's not enough to have the knowledge. You have to actually put the knowledge to work, and you've done that. So,
Yeah.
thank you for putting in the work, and congrats to your success, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I could have done it without you. I mean, I know what you're saying, but it's because of your program that I've had the success, and it's so super simple. And that's the thing that it makes me laugh sometimes is that it's not, the steps are not hard, but you've got to put in the work. And that's where I think a lot of people fall short because they get into it and it's not immediate, satisfying. It could take up to 3 or 4 months before, you get the deal across the finish line, and it's just, and people get, they want something instantaneous, and it's not. There's a lot of it. It takes a lot of it takes a lot of hard work for sure.
Yeah, takes that consistency. I think the other
Yeah,
thing
yeah, exactly.
that happens too is people get bored with it because it's
Oh
the
yeah,
same steps over and over and over, and that's just the business. And I think, and then people start trying new stuff or doing things new, and deviating from the path that's already proven, and then they get lost in
right,
weeds. Or like you highlighted a very important point, and I want everyone to pay attention to that. It's very easy to get lost in the research in this business. And the issue, and I've done that. I've done that so many times where it's like you feel like you know somebody and you've never even spoken to them because you find out so much information about them on, court records and on the internet. But you want to get through that research as quickly as possible so that you move to the main money-making activity, which you already mentioned is, having conversations with people. If people don't
right.
know who we are,
Yeah,
how we can help them, they're not going to do business with us. So I'm
that's exactly right.
yeah, I'm really glad that you brought that up. Um,
You,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you say all the time, try to make it as personable as you can when you're making the calls. And I think that that's, so critical because these people are going through a lot of stress in their lives, and the more personable you could be, the more you're going to be able to relate to them, and don't get frustrated if you call them 15 times and maybe that 16th call that you finally get them right because and I think you mentioned this in one of your videos is they're hiding for a reason. They don't want to deal with the creditors, or they don't even want to deal with you for that matter, but sooner or later they're going to come back around. I actually had a guy sign with me Monday that I chased him for 3 months, and I finally put him off to the side, right, because he just wouldn't interact with me. And he called me up and he says, "This other people said that I don't have an overage." And I said, "Well, and I went online and I checked, and they didn't read the case file properly, and there actually was an overage." And I said, "Well, I believe that there is, but there's only one way to really know." And he says, "Well, get me your paperwork refreshed, and I'll sign with you." Signed him up, sent it into the attorney, and we're processing it. So I mean, you never know what's gonna, when somebody's gonna come back around to you when you have um, success with it. And I had a lady from Georgia, a competitor, and and I thought for sure she was going to sign with him, and she ended up coming with me. And I think it talks about the process and relaying that and educating them. And and sometimes that don't always work, but most more times out of not, it will work. And get them on your side. Because they feel like they could trust you and you're explaining things to them and you're not just trying to get them on and off the phone. The more time you can spend with them, the better, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, I agree for sure. It helps, well, like you already mentioned, establish that rapport and that trust for sure.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
One question I had, I mean, you already mentioned like how the program has helped you get the results that you've gotten. And I know a lot of folks here too, like, join a program, join a training. Can you maybe explain why it's so important to go through a training versus trying to do it on your own?
I think that the thing that the training did was it gave me the information of where to look and how to decipher the information. I use that case that I just told you about in Ohio. The gentleman has somebody else, I guess he was talking to, and they didn't read the case file properly. And you go through that in detail in your course to
Yep.
how to find and make sure that there is an overage,
Yep.
right? And that right there was the difference between me getting that business and that guy, basically saying give up, and he say, "Well, I don't have an overage," because he was about ready to give up. And I had sent him an email the night before, "Hey, I'm still here if you need any help." And you set up a meeting with me, and I went through the case file like you taught us to do, and I was able to determine that there was an overage, and I signed him up. And I think that that's the key when you go through a training course, especially like yours, where you go into detail of how to determine where there are overages and when there's not. That makes all the difference in the world. And you can't learn that by Facebook groups or, those, high level videos that are out there that people are posting. You really need to have someone that will go through the details with you, because this is a very detail oriented business. And if you don't understand the particulars of it, where you can pinpoint those things, you're not going to have success, right? And that goes to show you where that other individual didn't really understand the program, or the data that they were looking at, because they gave wrong information. And by me going through your class and really understanding it, I was able to see that there truly is overage there.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that's maybe kind of another angle I wanted to point out too is, I mean, you had somebody that had got a hold of the claimant and who had offered their services, but then said, "Oh, there's no overage," because they lacked the knowledge to analyze a case properly. And
That's exactly right.
maybe they've gone
Yeah.
through a program, but you can see that the difference there literally costs them money. Like they lost
Right.
opportunity because they either didn't have the knowledge or they got incorrect knowledge from a program. And here's the other thing too, like when you have the correct information and you've been trained properly, it's not necessarily about you, it's about the service that you can provide to your client. You
Right.
were able to provide a better service because you were more knowledgeable and knew what you were doing versus the other company lost the deal because they were ignorant or just didn't
Right.
understand. I mean,
That's exactly right.
I don't know. I don't know who it was, but maybe they've
But neither do I.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they've gone through a program, but they got incorrect information.
Yeah. And
That's
one of the things that was interesting is, and this is one of your videos about competition. I didn't have to, discuss the fee with him. He just signed my document. That was the thing about it. I didn't have to, try to negotiate with him or anything. And th- that goes back to what you tell us about showing our different what we're differentiates us from our competitors, and be able to and that training is key. It's just so key.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have been able to, if I just watched videos and, what read some of the Facebook groups, I would have not known how to decipher that case file properly. I wouldn't have known. I mean, and I think that that's the injustice that, that's out there, is that people are being misled and thinking that they can do this by just, being part of Facebook groups and some of the communities and things like that. You don't get the knowledge. You just don't get the detailed knowledge. Yeah, can you process a claim? Probably so, but you don't have the detailed knowledge to really know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, the downside is, I mean, obviously I have a Facebook group and, Facebook groups can be a good source of information. The problem is you don't want that to be your main source because
That's right.
a lot of a lot of folks that post in Facebook groups and public forums, they don't have any experience themselves. They're just
Right.
posting something that they heard from someone else, or like it's kind of the blind leading the blind sometimes.
Yeah.
And I mean, the bottom line is I shake my head every day at some of the advice that's given in my own group as well. But the problem
Right.
is I don't have time to moderate the whole thing.
Right.
I don't have time
Right.
to sit in there all day because I'm busy doing deals and teaching people how to do deals. So,
Right. Well,
I
I
I
think
try
that,
to do my best to, correct something when I see it, but I don't catch it all.
yeah. Well, I think that that's the way it is with most of the groups that are out there. People that set these groups up, they get it started, but then they don't have the time to moderate it because they're busy trying to do deals themselves or whatever their thing is, right? And it just and there's inexperience, there's some inexperienced people answering questions, and and it just they can't just rely on that. And I think that you posted, something around that you just said, don't let that be your only source of information. And I completely agree with you. You can't just let that be.
Yeah, you just want to vet the sources that you're getting information from and make sure that they've actually have results as well. And that's mainly why I post my results is not to brag, but it's to show people that I actually have the experience. And anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
important to vet.
Gives us hope.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, that's good stuff. I'm so excited for it. The 14 deals,
Thank you.
amazing. I've is that so you're probably coming up on maybe a year in the business or less than a year.
In less than a year. I mean, honestly, I, went through the training and stuff towards the end of last year, November, December, and then I got really started kicked off, with your gold program early January, and and it's just been, you know, nonstop, right? Every month, I'm excited to get the deals that I'm getting, it takes a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work, but it's so much fun though. I'm actually enjoying it. Believe it or not, I was kind of petrified to make phone calls, because I've never done any work like that. But once I kind of got started, it's like, okay, I don't care if you yell at me, I'm gonna keep going, call the next person, and it's fun. I'm enjoying it. There's a lot of I'm really getting a lot of fun out of it, and I'm starting to see the results, which is good too.
Absolutely. Well, that's why we do
Yeah,
it, right?
right. That's exactly right.
Um, Very cool, man. Well, I don't want to keep you too longer. Do you have any other advice or any words of wisdom for folks?
If you're on the fence about getting a program, uh, this is the program. I mean, and I can assure you, I've done a lot of research on other competitors to Nick here, and they don't come close to the advice that you get on a regular basis, and their documentation doesn't get updated nowhere near the amount that Nick does. And so, if you're on the fence, there's really only one option. And I hope you guys, take advantage of, Nick's different sales that he does and different offerings, and sign up with him. Do it today.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Billy. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you.